both doctors and patients face potential prosecution. And anti-abortion activists have shown their willingness to press for prosecutions if a practitioner does not correctly fill out the requisite paperwork. This is intended to have a chilling effect on medical professionals taking part in abortion care. And there is some evidence to suggest that this is working. A study published in 2018 found that the threat of criminal sanction created an atmosphere of fear and insecurity. And one doctor interviewed for the study said that all of the negative light that's been shone on abortion to see if doctors are breaking the law, I think those things are deterrents to junior doctors going into the field and wanting to get training. Patients too are not protected, in law or in practice, from being prosecuted for having an abortion. Since I started writing this book, prosecutions of women for procuring abortions under the 1861 OAPA has picked up pace in the UK. For context, and as a measure of how antiquated the law with which these women are being criminalised is, it also prohibits destroying or damaging a building with gunpowder and impeding a person endeavouring to save himself from a shipwreck. In June 2023, a woman was given a 28-month prison sentence for procuring drugs to induce an abortion after the pregnancy had progressed beyond the legal limit. She was ordered to serve half this sentence in custody, despite having other young children and the judge's acknowledgement that she was racked by guilt and suffering depression. A letter to the judge, signed by the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists and the Royal College of Midwives, asked him not to give a custodial sentence in this case, as it would deter other women from seeking medical care for fear of prosecution. The judge called the letter inappropriate. In August 2023, a 22-year-old woman was also put on trial for procuring an abortion and became the fourth woman that year to be prosecuted under the 1861 law. There were only 3 prosecutions in the more than 160 years prior to that. The fresh zeal with which these women are being pursued by the Crown Prosecution Service should ring alarm bells. Abortion provision is, I believe, a normal health service that every civilised society offers to its citizens, so that they can exercise full autonomy over their bodies and their lives. We have seen the effects of hundreds of years of illegal, restricted, or inaccessible abortion all over the world. These barriers lead to women suffering and dying from unsafe and unregulated illegal procedures, administered by themselves or by often unscrupulous physicians. In her memoir about her abortion in 1960s France, Annie Ernaux writes that, "Knowing that hundreds of other women had been through the same thing was a comfort to me. But what she is referring to is a self-administered abortion with a long knitting needle. We know that, without other options, women have tried to end their pregnancies with coat hangers, by throwing themselves down flights of stairs, or with dangerous quantities of illegal drugs." One of the immediate effects of the 1967 Abortion Act, which legislated for abortion provision for the first time in England, Wales and Scotland, was to drastically reduce the number of deaths from unsafe abortions. In the decade immediately after the Act was brought in, the proportion of maternal deaths due to abortion dropped from 25% to 7%. During 1961 to 1963, 160 deaths were recorded as due to abortion. During 1982 to 1984, there were 9. And in 2021, there were 0 deaths from abortion in the UK. In the best-case scenarios, women don't acquire a lethal illegal abortion, but are instead forced to carry their pregnancies to term, with all the life-changing and in some cases deeply traumatic consequences of that. But abortion care is an area of women's rights and healthcare that is still dangerously taboo in this country and around the world. I have worked in several clinics over my career, in a major city and a rural town. I have been the first point of consultation for abortion patients, have worked in surgical recovery at the clinic, and in recent years have worked remotely on the clinic's aftercare phone line. In my time as a midwife practitioner working in abortion clinics, I have seen that abortion involves many contradictions. One such contradiction is that, though it is portrayed as something extreme by its omnipresent opponents, it is actually incredibly common. Far more so than I think most people realise, even the patients themselves. 1 in 3 women in the UK will have an abortion in their lifetime, and these figures